Hello and welcome to Rexford Falls in upstate New York. Not really sure what town it is. Um, so the other day, I laid on you guys 1 Corinthians chapter 15. I just read it, and that was the video. So now we're going to break it down a little bit. To understand Corinthians, 1 Corinthians, and many other books of the New Testament, you have to understand this guy named Paul. Now, he wasn't born named Paul. His name was Saul, and he persecuted the church. First time he heard the gospel was from Stephen's mouth, as they were stoning Stephen. And that moved Paul to want to persecute the Christian church and snuff it out before it could gain traction. Because it had already gained a lot of traction, and no one was ready for that, especially the Jews. So they got Saul, who later became Paul. Saul became Paul, and he was on the way to Damascus from Jerusalem, and he had heard of a group of Christians that he wanted to go and stop. He was going to go and kill them, throw them in jail for believing in Jesus Christ. So on his way to Damascus with soldiers, Paul had a miraculous vision of Jesus coming to him. Jesus came to him and said, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And he replied, who are you? Who are you? And he couldn't see anything. It was blinding light. He said, I'm Jesus, who you were persecuting. And that was after the resurrection. So, you have the tomb being empty, and then you have the women going to find it. The men, not believing what the women said, ran to the tomb, and they saw it empty. Jesus appeared over 12 people after that. Then he appeared to Peter alone in physical form. Then he appeared to over 500 brothers at the same time. If you have 500 eyewitness testimonies that someone was there, that's pretty rock solid. Anyway, back to Paul. So Paul was then blinded by the light he couldn't see. And everybody with him had interpreted that he just had something godly happen to him. Some people say it's supernatural. Other people know it's really more natural than anyone would even want to believe. So Saul changed his name to Paul, was given all knowledge of the gospel, of grace, of many things. And God used him to spread his message to the Gentiles, which were the non-Jewish, non-Samaritan, like people, like I was a Gentile. I grew up Roman Catholic. That's a Gentile. A Gentile is, a Baptist. We're all Gentiles. Non-Jewish people, really, or non-Arabs, or Gentiles. And Paul spread his ministry to the Gentiles first. He didn't go up to Jerusalem and consult Peter and say, hey, I saw Jesus. Does that make me a qualified person to preach the gospel? No. No, brothers and sisters. He went about and did it. And he started doing it. And then years later, he went up to Jerusalem and he spent 2 weeks with Peter. 15 days, I think. And they all agreed. James, John, Peter, that Paul had seen the resurrected Lord and been given all the information about him. That's why you see Paul writing so many letters. That man wrote a lot of letters. He was in jail a lot. He was shipwrecked. He was everything. And then, to end it all, he had his head cut off. All for Jesus. If he was willing to do that for Jesus, what are we willing to do? Really? We live in America. We have it pretty good compared to a lot of people right now. And we're blessed to live in the land that we do. Brothers and sisters, no matter what happens, hold fast to the word of God, the knowledge of Christ and of God. Hold on to it, and if you're hanging on by a thread, it might as well be the thread to his garment. Thanks for coming in and having a Bible moment with Envy LaRue. If you like this stuff, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And have a nice day. Thanks for coming in and being a part of the team.